Are you an adventurer looking to take your hunt to the next level? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to East Meets West Hunt with your host, Beau Martonik.
All right, welcome back to day 3 of the daily East Meets West Hunt podcast hunt update from Colorado. Sitting at the trailhead here with my dad once again, and also joined by a good buddy of mine, Chris Toomey, who joined us for the hunt here. So we're both kind of here, or all three of us are sitting here worn out from the day's hunt, and had all kind of unique experiences today. To get started, actually, Chris, if you'd like to just quickly introduce yourself and how you joined us here.
Yeah, so through a mutual friend, Johnny Stewart, he introduced me to Beau, and in fact, Beau and I unknowingly went to the same college and met up years later, and Beau reached out to me. I recently moved to Colorado, I guess just 2 weeks ago, and knowing that, Beau reached out to me and asked me to join him here at his camp that he's been having up here, unknown Colorado, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so I'm glad you got to come up here for a few days or however long you end up staying. But so anyways, yeah, again, basically day 3 here. And to start off the morning, my dad and I, we hiked up over kind of the same direction that we headed yesterday, but knowing, as we talked about yesterday's discussion, there was no elk sign up very high, so we wanted to check out a few wallows that we had found last year, as well as some different valleys that seemed to hold elk in previous years. But so we went in, and the first wallow that we came to, I mean, it was active, and at least in the last couple of days. What would you say, Dad?
Yeah, it was definitely active, possibly the night before here. No activity in the morning, which you wouldn't expect, but we actually discussed sitting there this evening. What time we find it? We would get down in there about, it was probably 9:30 when we finally got down there.
Yeah.
But so it was too early to start sitting then, and there was a second wallow that I had marked from the prior year that we wanted to scout out, see if there was any activity in there. So we decided to go ahead and leave that wallow, and anticipating coming back in the evening for a sit. However, our journey to the other wallow was quite the journey, to say the least. The hillside that we had to climb to get into the other valley to stay above with the wind was a little steeper than I remembered it last year. We probably went 10 yards, and we went 200 feet and only went 10 yards.
Yeah, according to GPS. Because it's just it's so steep, and that's exactly what he was saying there. We sat down at that one wallow basically just until the thermals would change, till it started going up, and then we circled around the valley to get way up on top of the ridge, and it was just blow down from hell the whole way, and the whole time. Then we thought we were in the right valley and realized we had to cross another one to get up to that spot, and wasn't very happy with it. But once we got up on top of the ridge, there was sign there, but it wasn't extremely fresh, but there was some really big rubs.
Yeah, there was some real nice rubs up there. And I'm willing to bet that's got to be the bull I was chasing last year, still in that area. But once we got down into the wallow that was active last year, they probably were there a week ago. All the sign there probably a week old, I'd say. Yeah. But then we were probably in there about 1:30 probably.
Yeah.
And then we discussed about possibly hiking back to the first wallow, but after doing blowdown after blowdown for miles, we decided against that and try an easier route back.
Yeah,
and hunt back.
More or less that want to blow out that entire range, because if we would have went back to the other wallow, our scent would have been blown up the valley where they were potentially bedded, even though the sign wasn't showing that they were there. So we kept going down the drainage, and we were going to head to lower country, kind of where Chris was located at, and some aspen type, country right around 90 or anywhere from 10,000 to 9,000 feet in that range. So coming from 12,000 feet yesterday, almost 3,000 feet dropping down, just trying to find where the elk are. And along the way, we came across a pretty cool cabin in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And as we got back to camp, Chris had found it too and was there about an hour before us. So it was just this log cabin put up in the middle of this really thick, nasty creek bottom, I guess, that was there. How would you describe that, Chris?
It's crazy. I mean, you definitely can't even see it on the maps, so it's not something that you could pick out. But actually, pretty incredible construction for where it's at. I don't know, Joe. How old do you think that thing was?
There's some carvings that said 84, or maybe it was 82. But what was odd about it was, I think the last activity looked like it might have been in 2015. But, it was stocked to where you could, if you had to spend a night or even a week, there was enough dehydrated food packed away and canned food and sleeping bags hung from the ceiling. And you could move right in, I think, and spend some time there if you needed to. But there was no path. There's no beaten down trail. There's nothing to indicate that's even there.
So technically, what we're trying to figure out is, no one can really own that because it's on public land in a wilderness area with absolutely no record of ownership present. It looks like it had to have been all the logs that built the cabin came from right there, from all the trees. Pretty incredible, though. It was cool to be able to see that.
And super strange that we both stumbled upon that in Blowdown Mania.
Yeah, and we came from up top and you came from the bottom, and we both hit it. Yeah, and literally in the middle of one of the nastiest valleys that we've been in.
And we just missed you probably by an hour, we figured.
Yeah.
From about the time you got there and left and the time we arrived.
Yeah. So then we dropped down in the aspens there and did a little bit of calling, and no luck really. We found some decent sign, but we started heading back to camp. But Chris, you let's kind of hear how your morning started out.
Yeah, so the day previous, I did stumble upon my first scouting mission, some pretty good sign. I found some beds that were hot, they were really musky for sure, and seemed pretty fresh. There was definitely some fresh droppings all around that area. So I knew I wanted to come back there this morning. With the downhill thermals, I was going to sneak up on the downwind side of that bedding area and just kind of post up to see if they would come down on me. Rewind, I did hear a bugle to the north up the ridge walking in, but really couldn't pinpoint it, so I just kind of stuck to my plan of moving into that bedding area. I had a pin dropped on it, and no luck. After I got pretty cold, still with the downwind thermals, I started working my way up the hill because I wanted to scout a couple wallows. I did have pin dropped on Onyx maps, and that's about the time I ran into that cabin.
Yeah.
So I got up in there, some thick blowdown areas, crossed a couple decent looking aspen open meadows. They looked really good. As the thermals switched, I kind of changed my direction, kind of J-hooked and started coming back down the hill, and that's when I bumped that cow-calf combo that was right just to the northwest of the cabin there. And I slowed my roll a little bit and just kind of eased in there, did a little bit of calling in case there was some other herd, up the ridge, but as it turns out, I kind of eased my way in there, and it was just the two of them. From there, I just headed back down the ridge, and just worked my way back to the truck. No luck, but did learn some land, learn some country, found a new trail, easier access into the area, which Beau apparently already knew about. He didn't tell me. So.
Well, I didn't know that with the shortcut. That was just the way that I always took.
It seemed like a long way to me today.
Yeah.
Coming out.
Yeah, it was. It's all uphill on the way back, but it's all downhill on the way there. So that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were going even further downhill and working your way back up the ridge when you could have just hit that shortcut trail, and you could have been on top of the ridge from the beginning. So
yeah,
without having to go through all the nasty stuff and worry about blowing out any elk. But it's a nice trail going down through there. You can bugle down into some of those hollows, even though I'm sure a lot of other people do. But it's back in there. It's back in there quite a ways. So if you don't come from our trailhead, it's a very long way to get back in. So, and as you can see here tonight, I don't know if there's any other vehicles in the parking lot, is there?
Yeah, there's one other one.
Okay. Well, still, that's not too bad. You ran into someone yesterday, Chris, but we haven't ran into anybody yet. So it's been good, but also maybe they knew something that we didn't, and that elk aren't talking and they're not where they're supposed to be. But other than that, that's about it. That's about the update for day 3. Tomorrow's game plan is we're going to start a little bit lower, most likely, and just try to find the fresh elk sign, and maybe even head back to that wallow in the evening and sit over. I'm not a big fan of sitting, since I do so much of it whitetail hunting that I like to just move and move and move, but that may be our option. So anything else to add, guys?
Nope. Maybe we'll look into something tomorrow, though.
Yep. If not, we got the next day, right?
Right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Beau.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of East Meets West Hunt with your host, Beau Martonik. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit eastmeetswesthunt.com, Facebook at East Meets West Outdoors, and Instagram at East Meets West Hunt. If you enjoyed today's episode, please review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.